भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषाय शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, you are all welcome for morning Srimad Bhagvatam class at Shri Krishna Balram Mandir ISKCON Vrindavan. We are reading from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagvatam, 24th chapter, worshipping Govardhan hill. And the verse for today's discussion is text 3 and 4. So let us recite the text 3 and then go to the text 4. Kathyatam me pitah koyam sambramo va upagatah kim phalam kasya vo deshah kena va sadhyate makha. Lord Krishna said, my dear father, kindly explain to me what this great endeavor of yours is all about. What is it meant to accomplish? If this is ritual sacrifice, then for whose satisfaction is it intended, and by what means is it going to be executed? The next verse. Etad bruhi mahan kamo mahayam shrushrushave pitah nahi gopyam hi sadhuna कृत्यं सर्वात्मनां इह असत्य अस्वः परदृष्टिना अमृतः उदासतः विद्विषाम् एतद्ब्रूहि महान् कामो Mahyam Susrushverpitah Nahi Gopyam Hi Sadhunam Krityaham Sarva Atmanam Iha Satyasva Paradrishtinam Amrito Dasta Vidisham Etad Bruhiman Kamo Mahyam Sushruve Pitah Nahi Gopyam Hi Sadhuna Kirtyaham Sarvatma Namiha Satyasva Paradrishtina Amrito Udasta Vidishan Edadrohi Mahan Kamo Mahyam Sushrushve Pitah Nahi Gopyam Hi Sadhunam Kirta Sarvatmanam Iha Asatyasva Paravadrishtinam Udvasadvish Edadrohi Mahan Kamo Mahyam Sushruve Pitah Nahi Gopyam Hi Sadhunam Kirtyam Sarva Atmanam Iha Asatya Asva Paradrishtinam Amrito Dastaha Vidvishan Mataji Edad Bruhiman Kamo Mahyam Sushrushve Pitah Nahi Gopyam Hi Sadhunam Krityam Sarva Atmanam Iha Satyasva Paradrishtinam Amrito Udhasatah Vidvishan Edadrohi Mahan Kamo Mahyam Susrishve Pitah Nahi Gopyam Hi Sadhunam Krityam Sarvatmanam Iha Asatyasva Paradrishtinam Amrito Rasita Vidvisam Etat This Brohi Please speak Mahan Great Kamaha Desire Mahyam to me Sushrusve who am ready to hear faithfully Pitaha O Father Na not He indeed Gopyam to be kept secret He certainly Sadhunam of saintly persons Krityam the activities Sarvatmanam who see everyone as equal to themselves Iha in this world Asati there is Asva Paradrishtinam who do not distinguish between what is their own and what is another's Amrit Uddasa Vidvishan who do not distinguish between friends, neutral parties and enemies. Translation by disciple Srila Prabhupada. Please tell me about it. Oh Father, I have a great desire to know and am ready to hear in good faith. Certainly no secrets are to be kept by saintly personalities who see all others as equal to themselves, who have no conception of mine or another's, and who do not consider who is friend, who is an enemy, and who is neutral. Purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciple. Lord Krishna's father might have thought that his son was a mere child and thus could not properly question the validity of Vedic sacrifice. But the Lord's clever statement here would certainly have convinced Nanda that Sri Krishna was making a serious, not a whimsical inquiry, and that a serious answer should thus be given. So, the first verse of this chapter, if we see the first verse of the chapter, the first word first we should focus. Bhagavan api tatraiva. So this pastime is of Bhagavan. Because the lifting of the Govardhan hill and worshipping Govardhan hill, this pastime is of Bhagavan. When such extraordinary pastime are described in Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami, in the beginning, in a first verse, he will say, this pastime is of Bhagavan, so never doubt. When he is describing Ras Leela, he will say same thing, Bhagavan api taratri. So, just in the first verse, for a listener, Sukadeva Goswami is giving a warning, never doubt pastime of Supreme Lord. Now, regarding this pastime, Srila Jiva Goswami has given in 10th canto the pastime described by Sukadeva Goswami out of ecstasy were not in a chronological order. Sometimes he is speaking something out of ecstasy before the pastime, like it's in a time scale, they are before and after. So Jiva Goswami is giving here the information like this. Previously Krishna had promised the unmarried gopis what he promised. Go now, girls, and return to which your desire is fulfilled, for in my company you will enjoy the coming nights. This is chapter 22. Now, that was in the winter season. The Lord enjoyed them in the next autumn season. These nights of autumn must have some time after stealing their clothes. The enjoyment began on the full moon of autumn season, as will be explained later, Ras Leela. That was the full moon of Ashwin month in autumn season. Worship of Govardhan occurred on the first lunar day of waxing phase of Kartik. It's going to come. First waxing moon day of Kartik month. And that pastime was imitated later by gopis during Ras Leela. Gopis, when searching for Krishna, they was imitating, don't worry, I am lifting the Govardhan. So it means this pastime must have happened earlier. How can they imitate that? So, and going to the world place to rescue Nanda occurred after worship of Govinda. After this comes the Nanda Baba early in the morning on Dwadasi going to take bath at Jamuna early by 10:30 or say 3:30 and was kidnapped by the agents of Varuna. And Krishna went and rescued him. So this pastime is after Govardhan Puja. Therefore, the order is as follows. Worship of Govardhan in autumn, going to Varna place, stealing the gopis, going to Varna place after that, then stealing the gopis' cloth, winter, begging food from the Brahman's wives, summer, and then Ras Leela, the next autumn. So the sequence is like that. So with this sequence, Govardhan worship is early, then going to the Varun, then stealing the cloths of the gopis, then Brahman, Patni is blessed. So this sequence is like that. And why he has written like that? Sukdev recited the pastime out of order. Govardhan is described after begging from the Brahman wives because of his lack of control arising from prem or love. To some degree, because of similarity of the pastime, the cowherd went to the special place near the village for performing the sacrifice and lived there while preparing for the sacrifice. It means for Govardhan Puja, they went to a special place from Nandagaon. They moved, or where they were living at that time. Where they were living, usually Nanda Baba, by the time Krishna appeared on this planet, they were in Gokul. Then when Krishna was almost 3.5 years old, they moved from Gokul and came to this Chatikara. And they lived in Chatikara up till say 6.5 years or 7 years. And Govardhan Leela is at the end of 7th year of Krishna. So they moved to the Nandagaon. So for the preparation of Govardhan, of the Yajna, they have come to some other place where they are making all these arrangements. And while preparing for Krishna living there with Balaram, what the cowherd prepared for the sacrifice, with the desire to perform different worship with material at first, he did not say anything. So Krishna, the both brothers were nicely decorated by Mother Yashoda, and then they went and were sitting on the lap of Nanda and Upananda. And first they were just watching what is going on. And this is in Vishnu Puran. It says, when the sky was clear, approaching Vraja, he saw the people of Vraja preparing for huge sacrifice for Indra. Krishna saw this. And Harivansh Puran says, Krishna and Balaram approaching Vraja, which was preparing for sacrifice, desired to hear from the cowherd who were desirous of performing the festival. The first is a general description, and the second was more detailed. This happened on the first lunar day of waxing moon of Kartik. Since this festival for Indra is celebrated at this time in the, now the question is, Krishna is almost 7 years, so he has seen every year this festival. But this time, he is asking the question about this festival. He was seeing it every year, and it's not. And by the age of 4 years, he started herding the cows. By the age of 5 years over, he started herding the cows. So he was already. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when Krishna is, say, 2.5 years, 3 year old, he looks like 5 year old. When he is 5 year old, he looks like he's 8 year old. So by the time he's 7 plus, he looks like he's 11 year old. So he is intelligent, and questions are very smart. So now, Sanatana Goswami writes, the pastime during the 6th and 7th year beginning with herding cows have been described. Now, 4th chapter describes the principal pastime at the beginning of 8th year. Having great attachment, Krishna lived in Virj. Absorbed in pastime there, the people were most fortunate. That was described. The word api means acting in a way previously described. So, now coming to the verse 3 which we have just read. This is the verse 3 we have read. And Jiva Goswami writes, please tell me. Krishna is telling to the Father, please tell me. Everyone else know, but I don't know. Tell me only. He shows inexperience in order to please his father. So this is a very good attitude. Going to the elderly people, father, spiritual master. We should appear as we don't know. Then out of mercy they will enlighten us. If we pose I know, then there is no chance of learning. So this one line is very instructive, that when approaching senior people, we should act as if we are not knowing the subject. Then the explanation will help us. This is always, Prabhupada used to say, we have to appear like a fool in front of the spiritual master. So then we will be actually like properly enlightened and trained. And then his father would thus listen to him. Why have all of you, not just some, become so busy or agitated, arranging big arrangements here and there, moving, say, food is, say, grains are brought, this, that, a big operation like a factory was going on. Why? The other meaning of the Sambrahma, the verse 3 has a word Sambrahma. And Sambrahma, Samyak Brahma means completely bewildered. Brahma means bewilderment. So why you are all bewildered, what you are doing? Actually this word is very good in the sense that when somebody is worshipping demigod, he is completely bewildered. Because they were worshipping Indra, so they were bewildered. If they are not bewildered, then they should worship the Supreme Lord. So this Sambrahma word is very, this is like Saraswati has spoken this word to tell that this worship of the Indra is completely bewilderment. Though it is proper that this flurry of activity should take place far away, it is very close. It means the things are very near to the residence. Almost on top of us, it means it appears that we have to perform this right now. Everybody is rushing. Why? Please tell me, by whom and how the sacrifice will be accomplished. The word here is Makha. Makha is a Vedic sacrifice and Yagna is Puranic sacrifice. So usually the demigod worship is in Vedas. Vedas Karma Kand is the major portion of the Veda, which is almost full of worship of the demigods. That is Karma Kand. So it's a Makha. Makha is a Vedic yajna. Then the Jnana Kand of the Veda, which is mostly Upanishad, they are intermediary or transitional, and they are mostly focusing on impersonal Brahma. So Karma Kand is material religious activities. The activities are religious, but they are material. But to go beyond matter, the Jnana Kand of the Vedas, they take us beyond material religious activities to transitional spiritual activities, but to the level of impersonal Brahma. But that is transitional, that is not the final. Then Bhagvatam, which is the commentary on Vedanta Sutra by Vyasadeva, that take us to the spiritual activities by the process of bhakti. So, generally, like even at the time of when Krishna appeared, this worship of demigod appears to be prevalent. And even today you see all around India, before Srila Prabhupada's preaching of Krishna consciousness, it was only impersonalism. Nirakar Brahma, Upasana, everywhere all sadhus say, except very small section, is all impersonalism. From where this impersonalism has come? From Upanishad. But this impersonalism in India has become hodgepodge khichdi by addition of charity activities from Christianity. Because when Christians were ruling here, when British was ruling here, so philosophically there is not much higher philosophy there. But charitable activities is opening hospitals, opening schools, say like social work, it was the major function of the Christianity. And these Indians, which are impersonal, that impersonalism was mixed with charitable activity, and all these Mayavadi sannyasi are impersonals. They have started opening hospitals and schools. You can see this all around. And then during the independent movement of India, this impersonalism khichdi is worst by the spice of what is called Manav Seva, Madhav Seva. Why you are worshipping God in the temple and spending so much money on the God? The people outside the temple are starving. Why don't you feed them? Because they saw, well, our people in India, they are worshippers of, some are worshipping Shiva, some are worshipping Durga, some are worshipping Krishna, some Ram, or they are sometimes fighting. How can we unite them for independence? So they say, oh, whatever you worship, whoever you worship, ultimately it is God. All paths go to the God. So these two more mixture in impersonalism, a charity and all paths leads to the same goal, with enviousness towards Krishna, which is in the conditioned soul's heart. Ultimately we want to enjoy, and Krishna is an enjoyer. And so here Krishna is an enjoyer, and he is actually stopping the enjoyment of Indra. So this is an enviousness. These all together, the impersonalism is perverted to such an extent that everywhere you see people say, why are you going to the temple? Why are you spending so lavishly in the temple? People are just begging outside temple. Why don't you feed them? I am worshipping the Prabhupada, you say Daridar Narayan, the poor Narayan. They are Narayan. Worship them. It's better than worshipping the deities. Ask them one question. How much you spend on your cosmetic and perfumes? Why don't you share that to the poor? How much every house is spending on cosmetic and perfumes? No, their sense gratification should never be stopped. Only worship of God should be stopped. That is their enviousness. How much lavishly they are spending. Say for a small marriage party or some small festival in the family, they spend millions of rupees. But if you go to them and ask them, please can you give some donation for, say, serving the deities or serving the sadhus? No, no, no. This is typical Kali Yuga, when Maharaj Yudhishthira was meditating at that time. Personally, Kali Yuga came and he asked one question, that I want a solution to this question. I saw a person making the elephant pass through a hole of a needle. Whole elephant passed, but the tail was stuck. I want the explanation of this question. So Maharaj Yudhishthira says, the answer to this question is, in Kali Yuga, people will spend lavishly on any damn thing, but you ask them to do some spiritual activity, the tail will be stuck. The whole elephant will pass, but the tail will be stuck. They will not feed even one sadhu, and they can throw the food out in all the parties. Half of the food is wasted. So here Krishna wants, why you are doing all this big preparation for a demigod? Nanda Baba was watching. I'm just reading the next purport. Purport to text 4 by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. If the answer is given by Nanda Baba, we are about to perform a sacrifice. We are busy preparing for this. Then he would ask, Krishna will ask, what is the purpose of this sacrifice? Who is the Devata to be worshipped through this sacrifice? Who will perform, and with what materials? So the 4 questions are in this verse. What is the purpose of the question of a boy like you? Nanda Baba said, why you are asking this question? I have great desire to know. Kama Maha. In a verse, the word says, Kama, desire, Mahan, great desire. I want to hear faithfully. I have this desire to know. I have a great desire to know Mahakama, great desire. Or the meaning can be, as you are showing great expectation, therefore please tell me because I want to hear. But then in this verse, the couple words are like that. Nahi gopyam hi sadhunam. The saintly person never keep anything secret or hide anything. So the logic, Krishna is saying, though I am now growing up as your son, if you are doing this sacrifice, if it is bona fide according to the scripture, then tomorrow I will be the head of the family, then I have to continue the parampara. So let me know what you are doing. So this is good in one sense, that the son must know what father is doing. So as a son, he is asking the question. But usually, most of the things we do, but we don't know why we are doing. And somebody asks question, we don't have really the right answer. These are some rituals which are going in the families for generation without any substance, without any reference to the scripture. They are just rituals going in many families. You see in India, anywhere all over the world, there are some rituals which are going on in the name of religion. So when a story is told something like that, the son married, and usually in Indian marriage, the bride and bridegroom, they are all connected. They are both connected by a piece of cloth, and they enter in the house together. And before they enter into the house, usually the mother-in-law prepare a red kumkum powder water for the daughter-in-law to put foot in that red water, and then the foot mark of red mark should be at the ground of the house. It means Lakshmi has come. So generally it is considered, now my son has brought the Lakshmi in home. So usually with this ritual, the daughter-in-law enter in the home. In this marriage, the mother-in-law was busy doing here and there, and time was passing. It became almost 10 minutes waiting. The daughter-in-law was looking what my mother-in-law is doing. She saw mother-in-law, she grabbed some cat and put some basket over the cat. And then she came and said, did you have all ritual? She came in. Time passed, she gave birth to a son. After 20 years, his son was getting married. The bridegroom and bride, they are standing at the door. And she said, no, I cannot allow her to come in till I get a cat and put under a basket. So they were running here from pillar to pole to find a cat. The old lady, the grandmother was alive. She said, why you are wasting time? Why don't allowing the bride and the bridegroom to enter in the house? He said, I don't find the cat to put under the basket. He said, why? He said, when I came in home, you did it. He said, on that day, there was a lot of sweet outside, prepared for the festival, and cat was roaming around, so I wanted to protect the sweet from cat, so I put covered the cat. It was not a ritual from the religion. So many things people are doing in their home as a ritual which has no substance, no meaning. So Krishna here asking this question from Nanda Baba, and Nanda Baba he said, sadhu never keep any secret. And then he said, how can then a father keep secret from a son? Nobody is mine or yours. You are equal to friends, neutral and enemies. Sadhu is like that. So these are it means Krishna is considering Nanda Baba sadhu. He is a very honest and equal to all, comparing everybody with his own self. And so why don't you are keeping this secret, this whole big operation of some big worship going on, for whom? So the first pastime, as we just see, Govardhan Puja, then the wives of the Brahmans blessed, then it's Govardhan Puja and 2, and the next is going to be Nanda Baba rescued from the Varuna Lok. And then comes the Ras Leela pastime. So these 3 pastimes, before Krishna's last Ras Leela pastime, has a significance that generally the Brahmins, they give their opinion from the scripture about activities are right or wrong, because Brahmins are authority. So Krishna made the Brahmins favorable that what Krishna does is right. Then the second person who is responsible for giving judgment for right and wrong is demigod. And the administrative demigod is Indra. And he is mostly, in Veda, he is only the one who is glorified like anything. Now, Krishna is going to have a pastime of lifting Govardhan to break the pride of Indra. Indra become proud. He's a devotee. Indrari vyakulam lokam mridyanti yuge yuge. Bhagavad says Krishna appeared for the benefit of Indra. And Indra went along with Brahma to request Krishna to appear. But today, when Krishna is stopping Indra's worship, Indra become very angry, furious. So, Krishna wanted really to teach us a lesson that sometimes people give us respect, but we should not be addicted to the respect. If someday they are not giving respect, then we will feel really very upset and become angry. So we should never be attached to the honor and respect given by the people in general. No. Because if they don't give, then we feel really very much depressed and agitated and angry. And that happened to the Indra. Say, when Indra's sacrifice was stopped by Krishna, he was getting the sacrifice for years. The best course would have been, Indra would have come and asked, "Oh, you are not able to do this worship this year. Is some trouble in your family? How can I help you?" That is the gentleman's way. But instead of that, Indra became angry and he wanted to destroy the cows of the Vrindavan. So, the bottom line is Krishna wanted the worship of devotee more important and dear to Krishna than worship of a demigod. Because Govardhan is Haridas warrior. He said, worship Brahmans, cows and Govardhan hill. So Go Brahman Hitaya. You worship Brahman and cows. Prabhupada's almost early days purport in first canto of Bhagvatam is Brahmanical culture and cow protection are the backbone of this civilization. They both are backbone of this civilization. Brahmanical culture and cow protection. Without this, no civilization will ever flourish, not at all. So, Krishna here wanted to establish the Brahmanical civilization, I say culture and cow protection. Prabhupada used to say, our Krishna is cow protection Acharya and Balaram is our agriculture Acharya. He has a plow on his shoulder. So both are our cow protection and agriculture Acharya. So those who are not connected with cows and agriculture or land, they will never understand Krishna and Balaram. Never understand Krishna and Balaram. We have to be connected with the cows and with the land. Well, everybody, ultimately why we are worshipping demigods? To be happy. We should have a, like, our whole life should be green. We say green. Let you have a green life. Is everything green? The question, very simple, how the green color is made. The green color is made by what? It's not a color itself, it is a mixture of two colors. What are the two colors? Blue and yellow. So what is Krishna's color? And what is Radharani's color? Only you have a Radha Krishna in your life, then you have a green life, otherwise it is all dark and black. Just have a Radha Krishna in your life. And this Govardhan is so dear to Radharani that she told Krishna, how can I come with you on the earthly planet if Govardhan is not there, if Yamuna is not there. So Govardhan is in the spiritual world also. It was manifested by Krishna for the pleasure of Radharani. And Govardhan for us devotee is none different than Krishna. For us devotee. But for the gopis, Govardhan is not Krishna. It is Haridas Varya. He is a great devotee of Krishna. For gopis, he is a devotee of Krishna. For of us devotees, Govardhan is none different than Krishna. Because Krishna has taken the form of Govardhan on the top of Govardhan to honor the offering of the Brajavasis. So Krishna's these questions from Nanda Baba, and Nanda Baba was convinced. And he started telling, we are worshipping Indra because he sent the clouds which bore the rain, and we are cowherd, we need the greenery everywhere for cultivation of agriculture as well as animal protection. Then Krishna was using actually Mimansa, Karma Mimansa, which is not a Krishna's own philosophy, but he is refuting the arguments by Karma Mimansa. Everything depends upon karma. What Indra has to do in this karma. But the important thing to know is that this 7-year-old boy has convinced all the senior coward men to stop the ongoing sacrifice for many, many years of Indra. They said, Krishna, all right, we will worship your Govardhan and Brahman. Other day, let us today finish worshipping this our regular Indra Puja. He said, no, with the same ingredient which is for Indra, we want to use it for Govardhan. And all agreed with him. That is the love of Brajavasis for Krishna. They have given, this is Sarva Dharman Paritaja, Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. They have given up the dharma of Vedas. Vedas proclaim Karma Kand, you worship, they gave up that. Sarva Dharman Paritaja. So Brajavasis are Sarva Dharman Paritaja. They have given this ritualistic dharma of Karma Kand for Krishna's pleasure. For this small boy of 3.5 years, 3.5-year-old Krishna, Brajavasis, they left Gokul, they left their land, they left their home, they left their palace, they left all immovable property, only with cows and movable property, they camped here. Why? Just only for protection of Krishna. So that is the love for Krishna of the Brajavasis, that they are giving up all the apadharma, aparadharma. This is aparadharma. Dharma, artha, kam and moksha is called aparadharma. Paradharma is devotional service. They are giving up aparadharma. Aparadharma is sarva dharman pariteja. That is what the second verse of Bhagvatam says. Dharma projit kaitava nirmat sranam satam. So kaitava dharma is dharma, artha, kam and moksha. That is aparadharma. Inferior religion. That they were performing and Krishna stopped that. And he was giving them highest religion of worshipping a devotee. And that is also a very bona fide statement by Lord Shiva, one of the Bhagavad Acharya and Mahabhagavata. Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. Hari Parvati, of all the worship, the highest worship of Vishnu. But higher than that is worship of his pure devotee. So Krishna is establishing this truth. So the principle of Sarva Dharman Parityaja, the worship of a devotee is higher than the worship of a demigod. And the glories of the lover of Krishna, their Vatsalya Bhakta, Nanda Baba, Upananda, Sunanda and all great Gopas, they agree with Krishna and they give up their religion, their religious sentiment just to please Krishna. So we have to do the same thing, give up the ritualistic and superficial religious activities and should focus on only devotional service to Radha Krishna in association of devotees. We should give more importance to the devotee association because that is only the avenue to enter into the devotion. Gateway to the devotion is devotee association. So here, Krishna is ultimately going to establish the Haridas Varya. There are 3 Haridas Varya. Yudhishthira Maharaj is 1, Uddhav is 2, and Govardhan is 3. And Govardhan is higher than the 2. Haridas Vara, Haridas Varya, Haridas Vara, the best among all the devotees. So even Yudhishthira and Uddhav are the great Haridas Varya in Bhagvatam, but Govardhan is topmost. Why it is topmost? See, Rupa Goswami says, Mathura is better than, though it is in a material world, it is higher than Vaikuntha. Because in Vaikuntha there is no appearance of the Lord. So Krishna appeared here. But higher than Mathura is Vrindavan because Krishna is Rasa Leela. But the higher than Vrindavan is Govardhan. Why? Krishna is lifted on his hand. In Vrindavan he has his lotus feet. But Govardhan he has lifted on his lotus hand. But more than that, in Govardhan there are many pastime places of gopis. Vrindavan gopis, Ras line, Ras pastime, all varieties of gopis are there. It's called Panchayati Ras Leela, where Radharani was not happy, therefore she left. But Govardhan Ras Leela, no Vipakshya gopi, the righteous gopi are not allowed to come there. Therefore that is more higher than Vrindavan. But higher than Govardhan is Radha Kund. Is not different than Radha. But that is too high actually. So high that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada says, we are not eligible to stay at Radha Kund. But we can go and serve our masters there in a day and come in the evening and stay at Govardhan. This was the sentiment and attitude of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. So, I end here. Any question or comment?
Normally you go through stages, like mathematics before you can really understand the complicated mathematics. So if the Vedas are recommending that we worship demigods, and maybe it's a preliminary stage to help us be, familiarized with the process of worship. Maybe we're jumping overhead.
No, that's right. See, in a Vedic system is user-friendly. And Krishna is making himself available to everyone in whatever way he wants. So demigod worship is very good for non-devotees and atheists, to bring them in a Vedic fold. But for an advanced devotee, demigod worship is prohibited because this will waste the time. The example given is like that. Father has two sons. One son is not very intelligent, he's getting only 40% usually in every class. He got 60%. Father said, very good, you have done a nice job. So, for those who are at the level of 40%, if they worship demigod, it is at least 60% is better, they are coming in a Vedic fold. But another son, he's intelligent, always getting 80%. He got 60%. Father said, you are rascal, not doing his study. Same thing. He said, you are eligible for higher purpose. Why you are wasting time in a demigod worship? So it is for somebody, yes, everybody is not eligible for a higher, unalloyed devotion. But they are at least in a Vedic fold. Prabhupada was once asked, which is better, demigod worship or impersonalism? He said demigod worship is better because at least they are in a Vedic fold. Because impersonal will be more or less helping atheists. They are more towards atheism. But demigod worship is at least living in a Vedic fold. So gradually they may advance. And there are many good examples. Vallabhacharya was worshipping Shiva. Shiva appears to him, he said, to whom you are worshipping? He said, Krishna, give me that. And he became a great Acharya, Vallabha. Our Chandidas, whose poetry our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was relishing, he was worshipping Chandi, the Durga. And the flower of his garden, his brother was Vishnu worshipper of Narayan. He simply said, give me these flowers. He said, this is for my Chandi, why you are asking me flowers? I don't give you. He just mentally said, I am getting some flower offering to the Narayan. And when he offered those flowers to Chandi, Chandi said, I am happy with you today because I got the prasad of my master. He said, who is your master? He said, Krishna is the master of my master. And then Chandidas become a great devotee of Vaishnava. So there are examples that those who worship the demigod, Keshav Kashmiri, a worshipper of Saraswati, when Mahaprabhu defeated him, then Saraswati said, he is not an ordinary person, he is Supreme Lord. So they become, so demigod worshippers are coming gradually. So it is a gradual process. The devotion is a lift. So Prabhupada, our Acharya has given us the best, and therefore only the cream among the conditioned soul is attracted towards devotee, not all. And Srila Prabhupada has actually collected the cream in the Western world when he actually preached this Krishna consciousness. He got the cream. Yes, Maharaj.
Prabhu, what would you suggest if we met people who's worshipping demigods and then finally we'll be able to convince them to worship Krishna? They have deities or murtis or demigods. So what would you suggest for them to do those pictures and murtis or deities? Tell them, what would you tell them to do? Because they have to worship only Krishna now.
Maharaj is asking the question that somebody is worshipping some demigod in the house and now some of family member has become a Krishna conscious and we want to bring, say, Radha Krishna worship and what to do with the rest of the demigods there. I mean, so one common example I used to give is like that daughter, when she is not married, she has father, mother, brother, sister, all dear to him, they love them. But the day she is married to the husband, she leave the home and go with the husband. Neither the father is upset, nor the mother is upset, neither brother and sister are upset because they know that she is at the right place. So like we have to tell this example that now you are married to Krishna. So if you give up your old family of demigod, they will not be angry with you like your father and mother are never angry with you. I mean, that's just an answer that will at least appeal to them. But I know a couple examples, even in our ISKCON, like our temple in Faridabad.
Or in Panchkula. There's so many demigods there.
What I'm saying, there are some ISKCON temples which were given to the ISKCON because the people were actually very much appreciated the activities of ISKCON, but already there were demigods already there. So like here, even in Nandagaon, we go there, the Krishna Balaram is there, but there is a Shiva Nandeshwar Mahadev is also there. Then we have to teach them actually that worship of Krishna is topmost. Then the prasad of Krishna you give to the demigods, they will be happy. And we should tell them like that. It is because you worship the demigod properly without material motive. Therefore, they have blessed you that you got a Krishna Bhakti. Because they have blessed you ultimately that you have got a Krishna Bhakti. So we are not going to criticize demigods in our... I mean, basically, nobody criticizes demigod. We criticize the demigod worshippers, not demigods. The principle is that Prabhupada has one full purport in first canto of Bhagvatam. Qualified Brahman never criticized any demigod, even ghastly Mother Kali or Bhairav, knowing that they are representative of Vishnu. All the demigods are Vaishnava. All the demigods are Vaishnava. So I know one devotee, Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj's disciple, he was worshipping Shiva and then he became a devotee. Maharaj said, you keep Shiva as a Vaishnava, you keep him as a devotee, as a Vaishnava, and worship Radha Krishna, and always remember by blessing of a Vaishnava, I have attended the service of a Radha Krishna. So we have to teach them really the right philosophy, rather than rejecting something and accepting something. Prabhupada's mood was, don't reject, you are Christian, remain Christian, you are Muslim, remain Muslim, you just become a lover of God. So the whole philosophy is we have to make them lover of God without actually criticizing anything or rejecting anything, but only putting the philosophy in right context. Philosophically we should make them understand that even if you want to keep demigod, you keep at a level which is for the demigod, and you worship deities, Radha Krishna or Gaur-Nitai or whatever, and then that prasad you offer to the demigod. Even like some temple have a Hanuman outside, Garuda outside. Our temple has, they are devotees. So after the aarti, we will go to the Hanuman, to the Garuda. So in this way, if they can take care of the demigod, knowing that demigod are assistant to the Vishnu in material management, they are not God, there is no problem. The problem is only that when we think demigod is God, and all the demigods, any worship is going to God, that philosophy we have to clear. Actually, what Prabhupada's mood is, we have to make the lover of God rather than criticizing anybody. When you go very gradually, ultimately they will understand that it's too much for us to do all this, and they can do Visarjan also. The Visarjan is also a process in a devotion. It's something we have to give up at certain stage. But it's really very, very tricky in India.
Yeah, because you may tell them, oh, you put them into sleep, put them in a closet.
It's very tricky in India.
About them.
Now we have to be very.
Sentimental.
Now we have to be very, very. Very smart in dealing all this, because we will make enemies. Because in early days there was no ISKCON temple. We were preaching in the Hindu temple, we were a demigod temple, and we were criticizing them. Therefore, many people become our enemies. So we have to keep the door open for them to come. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sadhu, sadhu.